Okay, we're live. All of us are live. Good evening, angels. Welcome. It's the 1st of July. It is positively summer, certainly where I am in Marlow-Fornia in the UK. And we thought it's about time that we take in all the, make the most of the weather we're having and go to outdoor cooking. One thing I can tell you about one of the benefits of my job is when I travel around the world, I get to hang out with winemakers. You're probably seeing Egg on screen. And that's Daniele's kid down below. And it's eating with the winemakers that you have the fun, the crack, the stories. That's what everything comes out. So I just thought we would dip into a few countries around the world. We have Kat Darno, who, if you're not following already on Instagram, Vigneron's wife, produces the most beautiful images of southern France, the markets, but Kat's going to tell us all about that. We have Johan Kruger in South Africa, who will be taking us through braai, the history of braai, the purpose of braai, the love for a braai, South African braai. And then you have Edgar Carter, and Karine is behind the camera, and he's in Chile, and he's going to tell us about outdoor cooking, what he does. And so basically, we're just going to have an indulgence of a culinary feast, if excuse the pun, of worldly foods on a summer evening. It's absolutely beautiful. It's great. Yay. So please tell us where you all are. And it's one of my favorite parts of these sessions where we all get together is seeing people in the north of England connect with Wales, connect with Scotland, and it's all around in Northern Ireland. Everyone's tuning in, and actually we're on Facebook and Instagram, so everyone around the world can tune in on this. So just join in, share the chat, let us know where you are, and we'll soon be kicking off. Just to get a phrase of it, Dominique, I'm going to think about throwing up a poll to get a gauge of the appetite that people have for various foods. So basically, are you vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, carnivore? And of course there are many other options to that, and it's not as straightforward. So we can see it live on the screen, or certainly I can, and it is leaning heavily towards carnivore, and vegan is getting there. Believe me, I think fast forward 20 years we may all be vegan, and that might be a good thing, but in the meantime a lot of meat has been cooked up. So that will run for another few seconds, and it should pop up on the screen. So let's kick off. Okay, we're going to kick off with Johan. And Johan, you've got a braai going, and tell us first of all what you're cooking, and maybe you can show us the screen as well.
Angels, tonight we are cooking Sutherland lamb cutlets, or chops as we call them. And we've been preparing this fire since 5 o'clock this afternoon with various kinds of wood to introduce different kinds of heated coals. And yeah, I won't be surprised if my boys wake up tonight and run out the front door to come and get a chop. They've already had each a little bit of lamb earlier while I was preparing. And yeah, so lamb is very typical social food for South African braais. Some of you have been here and you've experienced that, and we're very proud to share that with you tonight. Yeah, so any questions or comments, Ray?
Well, you know, Johan, I mean, I've been very fortunate to stay at your house and eat with you many times with Eamon as well. And well, in fact, it's when you go to anyone's house in South Africa, there's a braai, and we don't. There's no complaints. But what is the difference, or how would you define a braai versus a barbecue that we might like, say, in the UK or Ireland, where you've got a Weber, you put charcoals on, or you have a natural fire? So what makes a braai a braai?
Sure. I would say the time. You know, it's a barbecue, and excuse me if I'm wrong, a barbecue might be something that you light up sometimes, I don't want to say chemically, but it's a quick action, and you cook the food and you go and eat. Where braai is a social gathering. We make fire, we make more fire, we drink a little bit of wine, we might enjoy a sunset, which we did not enjoy tonight, but there was a little bit of sun through the clouds, and then we might make a little bit more fire with another glass of wine. And then when the meat is room temperature, we might start the braai. So a braai is not pretentious, it's uncomplicated, and just good friends gathering around a fire or family and enjoying the South African skies in the summer. This is a very untypical South African braai in the middle of winter with a little bit of drizzle coming from the top. But yeah, it's a social gathering amongst friends, enjoying this beautiful meat that the Karoo produces under our skies, you know. And again, I think the thing is, it takes time to cook good food as well.
Yeah,
sure our colleagues would resonate around their table tonight.
It's the ceremony, the gathering, yes, the time, taking the time, opening wine, catching up with people, and then finally you sit and eat, which is perhaps in our busy, or 1.5 years ago, our busy, hectic lifestyle, the kind of things that people maybe took for granted, but now it's about slowing down and appreciating the food. Yeah, indeed, even more so in these times we are in at the moment, you know, and it makes a braai in this current timeline more special and appreciative. And Johan, for the benefit of everyone watching, what is a Karoo lamb? So tell us just the specific Karoo lamb. I was thinking about Carlos because I had a hint that you might ask me that question, and we all know Carlos. His hands are about 1.5 times my size, and if you could compare the average lamb cutlet that you would buy in the UK, it might be, let me show you. The average lamb cutlet in the UK might be this comparison with Carlos's hands, and I love Carlos. But if you take my slightly smaller hands, and if you look at the size of the lamb, one lamb grazes on 4 hectares of land. So it's much more intensive farming, which makes it's sorry to hit this now, but it's like the old wines. There's so much more concentration because there's so little to feed on, if that makes sense. I hope I don't get it wrong now. So the concentration of the flavor in the lamb is so much greater. The vegetation the lamb eats it's like a dried up micro Amazon. There's so much complexity in the different herbs and plants that these lambs eat. And you know, the farmers in the Karoo we visit often with the boys have taught me that my neighbor's lamb tastes completely different than my lamb because the vegetation on that side of the fence, depending on ground and altitude, etc., soil type, is so much different than mine, you know. And I think that's what makes Karoo lamb really special, at least for me. No, that's great. You know, and perhaps lost in translation or communication, but where you say intensive farming, it's actually the intensity. They have so much space. These are very wild, very, very free-range lamb, but the shrub land is intense and concentrated, and that's what makes the flavor. So not at all intensive farming, quite the opposite, in fact. Well, I'll tell you what, you're extensive. So extensive then. Extensive. Okay, gotcha. Johan, I'll leave you. My mind was on the salt. Yeah, you work on that, and we're just going to check in with Kat and Ben Darno, and so we'll come back to you, Johan, as they're going. So, Kat, can we see your? Oh my God, what an amazing spray! We got you now. That's perfect. Nice one. Beautiful. Everything on the table is beautiful, but it's an Epicurean delight. Can you tell us what you have cooked or what you went to the market for?
Yeah, sure. Well, in summertime, I mean, the markets in our area run the whole year, but in summertime we get a lot of aubergine, tomatoes. So I've got a whole range of tomatoes here, the aubergine and the courgette. We've got salad, we've got the onions, the capsicum, the peppers. and I get local cheeses. So basically, this is how we eat in summer. We eat cold food, cut up and made into salads, and French green beans like that.
Beautiful.
And then a cooked baked vegetable tian. And yeah, the luxury about where we live is there are a lot of local producers who grow their own vegetables, make their own cheeses, farm their own animals. So yeah, I've got a luxury on that doorstep with what I can buy, which is brilliant.
Fantastic. So what day is market day, and how often do you go down there for your goods?
There's a few markets around here. The main markets are Onelzac and Rieux, and they're each about 10 kilometers, about 7 miles from where we live. And they run all year round, and you find yourself doing shopping with all the local people lining up. You don't want to be in a hurry and have to get to work by 9 a.m. because everyone talks about the weather, talks about COVID now. It's a really big social meeting. So it's beautiful if you're not in a rush, but if you're in a big rush, it's like, you get a little bit aggro. So you've got to go at 7 a.m. to beat the crowd. But it's a really lovely event.
And for those that don't know you, they know you from, they maybe haven't heard of it, you're Australian for sure. Yeah. And how are you as an Australian finding that country lifestyle and you're embracing the different pace?
Well, it was a bit of a shock, but when I say that, I mean that's about 20 years ago now that I've had this big shock. But it's what really struck me about this area, the Minervois, was how similar it was to Australia, where I'm from in South Australia. The vegetation is very similar, the climate's very similar. But being stuck outside of a city was a big change. But there is just so much to offer. There's a lot of activity. Everyone here is somehow connected to grapes and winemaking or farming or making local food produce. So it's really, it's been a beautiful discovery for me, really. I mean, this does feel like my other home from Australia. So it's lovely. It's a lovely country lifestyle.
Fantastic. And I have very, very fond memories of tasting with Ben all day out on the road, and then coming back and then doing another sort of lineup. There's always like 2 more crates of wine to go on the counter, but you do. We have, what is it, boudin that you'd supplement with some boudin and some comté. Well, can you remind everyone what a boudin is?
Boudin is your blood sausage, and I do distinctly remember you came one winter. It was around Christmas time, and it's the one time of the year where they make white pudding. So we had white pudding sausage that I fried in the fry pan in slices for our aperitif. And I think you took some home in a vacuum sealed bag. But yeah, so the blood pudding is very common around here, which I love. We love serving it with hot chips and also with apple compote, apple sauce.
Yeah, very nice. I have also brought Karoo lamb back from South Africa, and only when I got back did I realize you're not allowed to do that. But anyway. We never talk about it, certainly not live on a Zoom call. And Ben, how are you, my friend? I'm drinking your wine.
Hey. Good to see you. It's actually, it feels like, like you never realize when everyone's like come up live. Like I was like feeling emotional, like seeing those 2 guys, feeling everyone like coming from far.
Yeah.
So, it feels good. It does feel good. Like we are not close together, but it feels similar.
It's still the same personalities with the same quirks and exit. Well, I'm drinking your Picnic Rosé here, which is tasting delicious. You're on the same? Excellent.
Yeah. We've got that going.
Well, that's we're going through quite a bit of that wine for summer, I suppose. Yeah, that's the easy. I mean, I suppose it's that rosé. It's the easy match, like it goes with everything.
It does.
You don't need to think too much about what you're serving. And and we're very easy going with that. We not we put ice block in it if it's needed. Like with rosé, you can sort of abuse the wine a bit more. No one's going to tell you that you don't know how to serve it and all that. So I think that's the easy going about rosé. And I think for a lot of people, it's a way to approach wine for the first time. I think rosé is an easy wine. It's not. If you go into white or red, sometimes you need to have a bit more knowledge.
It
With
whets your
rosé,
appetite.
and it's the same for us. Like if you don't want people at the table asking you too many questions about the wines, you just have a rosé.
It's good.
And it's good. It's straightforward.
It's a very fun, it's a lovely wine. What we'll do, guys, we're going to go check in with Edgar in Chile and see what he's cooking. And then we'll come back and we'll all jump on and talk together and take questions as well from the angels. And so we have a Q&A, everyone. So you're talking in the chat, which is brilliant to see that enthusiasm. And then if you have any questions, which we'll pick up in the last sort of 10 minutes towards 9 o'clock, stick them in the Q&A, and then everyone around the world can answer your questions. So Edgar, look at this. So you're in Chile. It's about, am I right? It's about 3:15 in the afternoon. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock, 3:30.
No, 3:15.
Sorry, 2:15?
3:15.
3:15, 3:15. So here we are in a very lucky day because it's been really cold.
Middle of the winter.
We have had several days waking up in the morning with 0 degrees in the morning, so freezing cold. And today it looked like a perfect day for doing something outdoor. It's sunny, which is strange for the 1st of July. We are in the peak of winter. We are just here in our house. I would have liked to do this in the cellar, but we have a horrible signal in the cellar, so we did it here in the garden of our house in Maule.
Yeah.
And it's my boy that it's crying. He wants to be in the video, but he will speak all the time. So sorry about that.
Danielle is very welcome in the video.
No, but
If you
crying
want to
right
him
now.
and bring him in, that's perfect. That's lovely. If you want to, up to you.
Yeah.
So
So well, we are in Talca in our house. This is a spot that we enjoy so much. This is our barbecue. As you see, there's a table around. So normally I like to cook, so I cook here, but I don't like cooking alone. So I did this barbecue myself. I designed it, and you can sit down around, have a glass of wine, have a nice chat. In the meanwhile, we cook. So it's not that I prepared a TV set. It's just the barbecue we have at home.
But Edgar, look, honestly, Edgar, one of the reasons we wanted to do this session was to show or share. I'm very fortunate to see how other people live, how other cultures live, because I travel so much. But then just to share this with everyone back home in terms of what it's like in someone's home in Chile and how they cook food and how food is important and how family is important. And what you're showing us here is that you've created an outdoor barbecue, but you've built the barbecue into the middle of the table so you can share with your family. And that's just
absolutely, yeah.
Muele.
It's movable. You can move it actually, but yeah, this is not the normal place where we gather during winter because it's very cold. But we did it today. We have a nice day, and I was hearing from the experience you were saying what you find in France in the markets. Here in Chile, it's pretty much the same. We're all part of countries that have more or less the same weather, close to a Mediterranean sort of weather. So the vegetables you can have or pick in the market are pretty much the same. But today I wanted to move away from tradition. Why? Because in Chile there's starting to be very important the production of truffles. So I thought what to cook to enhance black truffles that are associated with Spain, with maybe with Italy. There's a little production of truffles in Australia, but not from Chile, and it's getting very important. And one of my friends, one of my best friends here in Maule, he's a producer, and we normally do exchanges of truffles because truffles are a little bit fancy. I know they could be a little bit expensive, but I have the luck of having a friend that produces, and he loves my wines, so we exchange, and it's perfect. And today I got a black truffle. I want you to see it. It's beautiful. It was harvested yesterday.
Wow.
And
that's fine.
What I wanted to explain is that truffle, it's a new produce in Chile. It's been around 10 years, and it's getting very, very important. And because of the price, people overreact in the kitchen with truffle. and in reality, truffles they get along really well with animal fat, with cream, with eggs, with
Pasta.
with ingredients that are very simple. So sometimes you go to a restaurant and they bring you these fancy dishes with truffles on the top, but in reality, for example, if you match truffles with eggs, because it goes really well with the egg yolk, it's heaven. And if you match it with cream, it's heaven. So eggs are the best friends. Butter. In this case, what I thought about matching this truffle is onion, which is a very humble ingredient. This is a red onion done with duck fat. I bought some confit de canard of duck, and I left apart the fat, and I did this red onion with red wine and with the duck fat.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Karim, for the camera work. This is delicious.
You're welcome.
And
That's-
these are potatoes that were cooked in the barbecue. And now what we're going to do is something very simple. It's we can do a bed of onions. This is a great side for your barbecue. I'm not doing barbecue today, but I want to show you that you can do a lot of vegetables in the barbecue. I'm a big fan of throwing whatever kind of vegetables on the barbecue. So what we're going to do is something like this. These onions have been like an hour, and they're done with Carignan wine and with the duck fat.
Amazing. Amazing.
What we're going to do now is you put water here with a little bit of vinegar, and we're going to do a poached egg.
Okay. And what's
Okay,
the plan?
3 minutes.
Oh, that's
3 minutes, and we're going to bring it out. We need to take care that the yolk of the egg is still liquid, and we're going to put it on top of it. And then before, we're going to use a little bit of cream. This is a tarragon.
Loving this.
Tarragon.
Fantastic.
This is what's thyme would be the name in English. Tomillo. So a little bit of herbs. Normally, I have all the herbs here. These are sage. This is thyme. This is rosemary. This is oregano. These are chili that are still hanging from the summer, but it's dead now. So I need to use dried herbs on winter. So we're going to wait for basically we're going to wait for the egg. We're going to mix everything. This is on top of the fire.
And is it a natural fire? So it's like you've prepared with vines or charcoal or?
Yeah, it's charcoal, but it's wood charcoal. It's not processed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so we can put all this together. We're going to do a sort of bed here.
And Edgar, tell me, or Karim, tell me what it smells like. What's the smell in front of you now?
Oh, amazing. And the onions are like with red wine reduced. They're reduced with red wine, so the smell is amazing with the herbs. It's I love this. This is a side dish for the meat. So we usually eat this in the winter because we have a lot of potatoes and onions in the winter. It's amazing. Yeah. A lot of calories, but it's great. It's worth it.
Yeah, exactly. You can run it off in the summer. Ooh, look at that. The poached egg on top.
Yeah, this is the poached egg. I'm it's a little bit broken. And the truffle.
Wow.
And now we need to be very generous.
Yeah, that's a lot of truffle.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can see approximately this truffle, it's like 45 grams. So right now I had just, how do you say? When you
Grated.
I grated probably 15 grams.
I don't know the price of truffles in Europe, but for me it's not so expensive. So I'm being a little bit irresponsible.
It's
And it
for
smells
for
amazing.
everyone. No,
So
that's
I will give this to my wife.
That's-
Karim, ven por acá.
gentlemen.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's amazing. Wow. With the egg. Hot.
We're all waiting in
I'm
anticipation.
burning. It smells amazing.
Well,
And I
And-
think for this wine, these are the wines you know up there.
Yeah.
Our Petit Verdot, Despachos, the Cariñán, and the Sureño. In this case, we are not eating meat. I love the Despachos with a blood sausage with fatty meats, but in this case, we're just having a side. So we chose Ciénaga, the Cariñán, which is fresh, which is perfect for your summer up there. And that's the idea.
super. And
Yeah.
that wine,
Sorry.
I just tasted the new vintage of that. What was
No lo
that?
doy vuelta.
2 weeks ago. So that should be here October, just when it's getting chilly, so people can make a nice outdoor barbecue like you have. So perfect
Yeah.
time. That was
Excellent.
amazing. That was absolutely amazing. What we're going to do, we're going to go and check in on Johan and Sophie, if that's cool. We just want to see how those choppies are getting on, and then we'll come back. You're already at the table. Here we go. We can see
Are you there?
It's looking good. Yes. We're listening in. So good. Sophie, have you made your chips, or what's the side? Oh, we've lost your sound.
Are you
Try
there?
again. Yeah, that's perfect,
Good.
Johan. Stay with it.
Good.
That's good. That's good.
It just started raining again outside, so we took the chops off.
Yes.
If I could dish to my beautiful wife, who's helped so much for tonight's dinner.
Thank you.
And then we can talk a little bit more lamb and another variety from South Africa, which is called Pinotage.
Yes, that would be great. But Sophie, I don't think the world has met you properly yet. So maybe I'll introduce you, but this is the lovely Sophie from Belgium, probably up there in the Euros in competition, I would say. But Sophie, I met you, what was that, 2014? But anyway, it's lovely to see you, and mother of 3 beautiful children. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ray. All good. Boys are doing well. Everything good, yes. This week we saw a reminder of 5 years ago. We were in London this time at the Naked Wines too. We saw a picture of me and Johan. I joined for one day
Yes.
to the tour in London. It was amazing.
Yeah, gosh. Well, here we are. Here we are having dinner together
Yes.
with 500 other angels. So Sláinte, cheers. And I've got your Pinotage here, actually, Johan. So exactly. You if you're starving, have a mouthful full. But if you could just share with everyone what about Pinotage and South Africa and Braai, and is it the perfect barbecue or outdoor cooking red wine? This is your moment to sell Pinotage big, Johan.
Sure. You know what? I never liked Pinotage. So I make the Pinotage that I really enjoy. And sure, it's like Sophie says, it's I remember you were in Cape Wine, Ray, in 2015, and we tasted this effort of ours, which was my first could I love Pinotage moment in life. And in a sense, like meeting Sophie, it was love at first sight. The beautiful red fruit. Look, I love Burgundy, like most of you would know. And I never realized how much resemblance there are between Pinot Noir and Pinotage. Of course, Pinot Noir being a parent grape of Pinotage. The stigma is always the sticky, masculine bodybuilder Pinotages that used to be pumped out of South Africa. But if you give the grape a little bit of love, like you do with Pinot Noir, it actually makes a really juicy, red-fruited red wine with a beautiful personality like Pinot Noir can, which is the perfect partner for lamb chops. Did I answer you?
Yeah, that's good. It's good. It's good. Exactly. And in the lamb, well, you've eaten it a million times, but you know, what are you going to be tasting now? What kind of flavors? We know what lamb tastes like, but when I've had Karoo lamb, there is something extra in there. So I just saw one comment pop up there in the chat saying English lamb is unbeatable. Welsh would argue the same. I have to fly the flag for Ireland, and then of course there's New Zealand lamb. But let me try and have a go. I think the difference, what I've found in your Karoo lamb from that which I eat up here, is you almost slow down and think when you're eating it, because it's actually quite an intense and complex and rich. I mean, it's the amount you cooked for us, we were just putting them away. And I think I had a lamb snooze. What do you call that? If you eat too much lamb, you pass out on the couch. Yeah.
We spoke about it this week.
You can OD on lamb, but
Ray, in a lot of cultures, lamb would be seen as meat. So if it's neck or shank or tripe or leg of lamb, it's a piece of meat. But if you look at a lamb chop, you get 4 segments, and this is where my boys taught me a lot. You get the crispy, as they would call it. A lot of people all over the world would call it fat. We call it white meat.
I love it.
Then you get the small fillet part, which is lost already because either me or Matthew always grabs that little portion. And then you get the marrow. So in a lamb chop, there's this world of flavor to me that resembles, in a sense, our Rainbow Nation. And taking it further, pinotage, which is what do you call it? A blend of Cinsault and Pinot Noir, a hybrid of Cinsault and Pinot Noir, which are 2 of my favorite grapes. So, yeah, I wish I could have everybody around the table here to just taste this
and smell it.
Even though it's a cold, rainy winter's day in Cape Town. But still, through the lamb and the pinotage, you taste the sunshine of South Africa. And I think more than Johan or Sophie or whatever, it's the essence of just embracing our beautiful country through the food and the wine.
Amazing. Just before we go to Kat and Ben again, fast forward to when things aren't normal. How, if people want to experience South Africa, can they catch up with you? Can they call you if they're coming down? Or, I mean, maybe not to your house, but you point them in the right direction where to pick up good lamb and so on. Would that be possible?
Indeed, and please so. I would feel offended if any of our angels and supporters come to South Africa and they never picked up an email or something to get tips on. It doesn't have to be the most expensive, but through local pointers, like on tour with Eamon's coffee breaks. If you, it's like traveling in France. Ben, you would know this already. You'd never eat where the tourists eat. You eat where the locals eat. So whenever you visit South Africa, please make contact and we'll share where we eat or buy lamb.
Yeah, great.
And hopefully.
No, thank you, Johan. And anyone could do that by just writing on your wall, commenting on your wall, saying what they're planning. Or even, let's imagine for one more year, dare I say, that we might not get down there, but we can just sort of say, how do you cook? You could have exchanges, say, I drank your pinotage last night, I loved it.
Please.
By the way, at what temperature, how long to get the colds going. So start the chat going. And we have a food and wine matching group Hopefully maybe Simon or Dominique can find that.
I like that.
Posted in the chat room, and there's a great amount of chat there. And Frank Massar, I think, kicked that off. He's in Spain. He was a sommelier for Glen. Okay, so we go to Ben and Kat. Good evening, guys. Ben, I think, were you chucking a bon appetit, Johan and Sophie? Please eat. Ben, were you chucking a piece of fish on the fire? Is that...
No, I've got I cooked on the plancha, I must say. Like it's sort of we cooked actually. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Well, we didn't wait. We couldn't wait. We're starting to eat. So we with all the food that Kat prepare, because I mean most of in summer really we don't cook much. Like it's all about produce, and so we did a bit of some squid basically, like which is from being fishes, but so very easy. Like it takes about 30 seconds on the plancha to cook that, and there's nothing else to do. Like just this and a bit of coriander.
Ben, just tell us, la plancha, it's like soit en planche, but you put that indoors on a gas ring and you just put it
outdoor. It's a bit like a barbecue, but except it's a big piece of metal.
Steel metal.
So it's steel metal, which is flamed by gas. And so it's an easy way, very hot and steady heat.
Yeah.
So you sort of very good to fry stuff very quickly. And so we use that to, again, like we do like to cook quickly in summer. Like there's no much, it's all about produce really. And
we don't really spend too much time on slow food cooking in summer. Like you buy your fresh food. We've got a lot of friends who, like, we've got our friend Alex who makes mozzarella in the area. We've got
amazing. Like we've got that Italian family, who's set up like a buffalo farm around us.
Water buffalo farm.
And they've been actually judged by like a big panel of Parisian people, the best mozzarella in France. And so it's beautiful. Like it's all made by that woman called Alex. She's a wonderful person, and it's incredible. It's amazing.
It's really good
yeah
stuff.
No, really good stuff.
So we tend to serve a lot of cold dishes and a lot of room temperature dishes, and so with all the vegetables that I get at the market, you can make either a ratatouille, which is always a really good mix with the rosé, or today I made this vegetable sliced tillon.
Ben, would you lift that up a bit, please? Yeah.
Yeah.
See that a bit better?
Yeah. Like, look, it's sort of it's a mix of basically
all the vegetables in season at the moment, and you slice it really thinly. Bake it in the oven with a lot of olive oil and a lot of garlic, and it's really good served cold. And the next day, if we're not doing fish on the barbecue, we might do lamb chocks or we might do some steak, but all of these veggies, that's basically how we eat in summer. You just eat like a meat or a piece of fish with anything that's in season at the market. And then you have your aperitif, like you have the mozzarella. We've got our Luke olives, which are also from this area.
I suppose we are like all those wine region, you know, they produce food, and I'm sure Edgar's the same. Like we're lucky to have very like olive oil is also produced locally, like from La Livinière.
Wow.
So it's it's very, and you know, I mean, I think everywhere in the world is growing that trend.
That was the guy you met on the bottling line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's actually the guy who's producing the olive oil. He's an enologue.
Oh, he's a wine. Okay, wine.
He's a wine guy too. Yeah.
And Kat, can we go back a couple of steps, because the dish that Ben held up for us there, can you just tell us the name of it again, and so just slowly go through the process again so we could make it?
So you basically call it French Provençal vegetables, or you call it a tillon, which is spelled T-I-A-N. Basically, a tillon in French is this earthenware dish, and so the dish that you eat is named after the dish that you cook it in. So basically, I say we do very quick fast food in summer, but that one actually takes quite a long time to chop, like a ratatouille does. But you chop all your vegetables really finely, you lie them next to each other, and I take sort of care on what vegetable I put next to what vegetable, because you've got eggplant in there, you've got tomato, you've got courgette, zucchini. And today I actually put in potatoes in there because we just had some old potatoes. So you can put whatever you like, but you basically put summer vegetables in there and you bake it in the oven for anything from an hour up to 2 hours. And onion and lots of garlic, lots of salt and pepper, and you're ready to go. You've got everything in one dish, which is super easy.
I love it. That's it. I mean, and I think that probably sums up outdoor eating or Provençal style eating, isn't it? Where you it's a bit of garlic, bit of olive oil and aubergine, that just those flavors that come through. And they're actually quite deep, long flavors, aren't they? You end up drinking an extra glass. Yeah. Yeah,
and the rosé, I mean, basically I could drink any wine with any food, but in summer when it's very hot, the rosé is a great complement to everything because it doesn't compete with all the flavors, but you've got this beautiful fresh acidity with a slight fruitiness about it, a slight strawberry kick that I find when you've got the acidity of tomatoes and vinegar, the rosé is a really lovely harmony with that. So you're not competing with a red wine or a white wine. You've got something fresh and acidic, which is also quite refreshing.
Yes.
And
lovely. What have you got?
Speaking of refreshing, are we allowed to talk about this bottle?
Yeah, well, go ahead, because we're not allowed to not talk about something you just think, can we talk about?
Is that what you're gonna? We just it's, I think it's about to happen. Is like some people might know, we got a Crémant from Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. This one is the new addition to our range.
Bubbles.
So it's a pink Crémant de Bourgogne, and we're about to pop out that. We opened a few bottles already, but I think it's good time to celebrate with you guys, because I think it's a perfect drink, like to celebrate that with all of you guys.
So I'm super excited because there's a second Vigneron's Wife in the range now. So basically, I'll just be on bubbles all summer, I think.
And we can mention, Ray, that that recipe of the Tian, I think now is online on Kat's blog, or will be on Kat's blog. So if people wants to have a look to the recipe.
Awesome. That's perfect. That's great, Kat. And it's a really good prompt as well, Ben. Thank you. We're going to go back to Edgard and Karim, but just before we do, I thought I'd just give you the results. I'm not sure if it popped up on your screen, but I've only gotten around to talk about it now. But the results of that poll we did to get a gauge of who eats what and where. So of about 500 people at the time, 480, 88% are carnivore, 7% are pescatarian, who'll enjoy the squid that the guys are eating this evening. And what a lovely way to live as a pescatarian. 3% vegetarian and 2% vegan. And all those numbers will continue to change over the years, but enjoy the food that you enjoy for now. Edgard, we're going to bring you back in, and then you might need to unmute yourself, I think. Are you good to go? You there? You give us a shout and then we'll know if we're. And we have Daniele as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we can hear you. That's perfect. Good. Do we have? Can we see Daniele, or you want to keep him off camera? Maybe that's best.
¿Quieren verlo?
Okay, Daniel, ven. Ven. ¿Te quieres saludar? They want to say hello to you. Ven.
Hola, Daniele. Daniele, no. This way. No.
He became shy.
What have I done?
Suddenly he's shy now.
Everyone was enjoying a nice dinner until I decided to do that. So I apologize. Daniele, okay, so have you guys started to eat already?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're finishing.
Yeah, there's a timing. There's a timing for this because the egg needs to be liquid on the center, needs to be warm. And well, that's why we put it all together just in the moment of the video. And this is the moment for eating. And it's 3 p.m. So we already had lunch, but we had a sort of Chilean cazuela, which is it's a soup. So it's not so heavy. So we left a little bit of hunger for this.
Worth it.
Oh.
So good.
Because I can't have lunch at 3 p.m.
No, that's understandable. And I
Yeah,
think just
so-
for context for everyone else, I've met Edgar and Karine twice in person. Well, actually, Edgar, I met you a number of times on the road, but the first time, Eamon and I, we went to your house. And do you remember we're sitting at your table and Edgar was just up and down the whole time, standing up into the kitchen, and he was like pickling garlics, and he was just showing us all these foods he had made. And I just thought, this guy not only likes food, he's a little bit obsessed with food, and in a very and we enjoyed it. And then the next time, that was probably 2016 or something, I don't know. And then the next time was I think in 2019. And I was tasting with you, Edgar, and I was tasting with Luca Hutchinson, and then out in the yard, while I was tasting with Luca, in the yard of a winery. I mean, it was like, it wasn't pretty outside, but you put together this fire, and then you cooked crab souffle on this open fire. And, you know, I walked out after tasting Carmenere and Cabernet, and we were blending. And then I came out and we were going to eat something. I was like, okay, cool. Where are we going? It was like, we're just going to sit here. And there you were taking this incredible food off this open fire. I think you might have cooked it like in a barrel or something, like, or it was just mind blowing that the attention you did. So, you know, anyway, first of all, thank you. But it's just a sort of share and support. But I think you've proven everything you've done this evening, cooking or building a dining area with a built-in barbecue so you can talk with your folks. I mean, it just sort of shows, personally, it drives me to appreciate more food and eating with people.
Yeah. Well,
because I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because I don't cook. I'm not good at cooking. So I marry someone who loves to cook and cooks amazing. So I'm very lucky.
Yeah, for me, as you say, for me, it's a passion, cooking. I think wine comes from my father. I'm first generation producing wine, but it's very important when you have someone in your life that gave you the habit. I don't know if that's the correct word in English, the habit. My dad, I saw wine in the table every day since I have memories. So that was in my brain. It was like, it's like a inner software that I have, wine in the table every day. Yeah. So, and my mother, she was about cooking. And she came with this French heritage from her mother, from her mother's side. And I always remember me trying to go into the kitchen. We're talking about the 80s. So there was a much more conservative, sometimes way of looking at things. And normally they were kicking me out of the kitchen. Like, that's not the place for a boy. Yeah. But I persevere, and when you like something, normally you keep on going. And for me, wine and food, it's something that it's therapy for me. I can be 3 hours cooking and I'm having a glass of wine and I'm happy. It's part of my life. For me, it's really relaxing. Really, it's not a speech what I'm saying. I really like it. And when you came home and we had that dinner that I tried to focus on seafood, and then when we met with Luca, that was also with the crab cake, always trying to explain you that through wine you need to explain first place. And what happens to me that sometimes when you are doing a French wine, because of the history and all that, normally there's a perception of what's the country, what they produce. But when you're Chilean, you're like at the end of the world to the right. So you need to start explaining things. And you know, in a way, when I cooked seafood to you here and with Luca, explaining that this country has more than 4,000 kilometers of coast of Pacific, and it's marvelous because it's cold, and it's the Humboldt Current, and we have I don't know if the best fishes in the world, but they are great, and we have sea urchins, and we have crabs, and we have centolla. So I think this is the first time that I had to cook with you, and it's not something from the sea. because
we have to prove
we're in Truffle's time. So I love explaining my country, my weather, my place through the kitchen for people to understand that we have a very Mediterranean, at least where we produce wine, a very Mediterranean way of eating. We have very clear seasons. So now we don't have nothing of what I was hearing that you can find now in France in the market. It's just the opposite. But
oh, it's perfect.
Chile's cold. Could be cold. It's full of seafood. We are always 1 hour from the coast because it's very thin. So our connection to the Pacific, it's enormous.
You have ceviche. So what we will do, we have about 10 minutes left. We won't be too strict on time. If people have to go, that's okay. But there's some questions in the Q&A. So Johan and Ben and Kat, we're just sort of, I'm not sure, I haven't read them yet. So I'm just going to fire them out quickly and we'll keep them sort of rapid fire, snappy snap. So Karen, hi, thank you for contributing, Karen, and everybody. What is the surface made of in Edgar's table barbecue? Edgar?
What is
Surface of the
the surface in feet could be. Maybe it's 20, 40, 60, 80.
No, the measurements. The perhaps
1.5.
No, sorry, perhaps the. Oh,
maybe 5 feet or.
And what's the material?
Huh?
What's the material?
The material. It's iron. This is stainless steel.
and wood.
The rest it's normal steel, wood. This is wood, yeah. And this is always warm. This is warm, not very hot, but it's warm. So
you have a
Chile
break.
would like to do empanadas. So in a way to keep them warm and not to really burn them, you can put the empanadas and the bread on the side, just like a little oven.
And you can take this off. This comes off. You know, you can lit the fire here. So then you put
this is like this. You know, you can bring it up.
You can lift it.
This comes up. And the fire comes up and down.
Edgar, can you put the plan on the internet?
Yeah. Can you do the working station, the dimensions, and the materials? So maybe post Edgar, Corinne. It'd be great if you did just share with us a bit more about your workstation, because it would inspire quite a lot of people.
Everybody loves this barbecue. It's like it was Edgar's design, I think, and everybody who comes here loves it. Like so comfortable, so smart, and so everybody loves it.
Okay,
Everything
awesome.
happens around here.
We love
And
it
that
too.
was the idea.
Same at home. We want the same at home.
Okay,
Excellent.
we move on. Paul asks, what is the best red to serve with barbecue red meat? Now I can ask there's six of you, but I'm going to point it straight at Johan, this question, because I just imagine there might be other questions. So Johan, the best red other than pinotage to serve with barbecue red meat. And I'm going to turn on this light. So Johan, you take the floor, please.
Other than pinotage, sure, Ray. I would say Grenache.
Grenache.
Yes. There's a earthiness, fiery, and let me ask the question back. What meat are we buying? If it's lamb, it should be Cinsault. If it is T-bone, it could be a Cabernet Sauvignon. And you can continue, we've had fillet steak, which I'm not the biggest fan of, which we really enjoyed Chardonnay with. So, yeah, it's
a perfect one. It's a good one to ask. Exactly, it's relative to the meat, and in fact, the following question continues that, and so we can ask the other winemakers and co. It's from Mel. Please, can the panelists suggest one wine each to take on a picnic barbecue? And then think your thick you need to think of a typical British summer with unpredictable weather. What are you talking about? It's unreliable. Maybe a bit of sand in the sarnies, in the sandwiches, and sun cream. So basically where everything's just in the wrong place and it starts to rain and you're in a coat, and then you get an ice cream and the ice cream falls over. What's the perfect wine for that scenario? I'll go to Ben and Kat.
Well, yeah, well, you're giving us the answer like by coming to us, because we've got a wine called Picnic. But I will say though, I think, because you know, I like to put up the packaging too, because a screw cap is quite handy. So I think it's quite a nice thing. It's practical. And so Picnic is where you have a lot of sort of food. So again, for me, Picnic works well with rosé basically, and or white wine, light. I suppose a light red or a light light white or light rosé. So it goes with everything. So I think it has to be light, yeah, light and refreshed.
Perfect.
Like put in the fridge,
Slightly chilled.
whatever it is, red. We are very pro chill red, chilled everything.
Ice blocks.
You're very
warmer in
very
the glass.
chilled couple. Very chilled couple. I just remind everyone, just in these last few minutes that we have, so Karina and Edgard and Sophie and Johan, we're all sort of, our mics are on. So when someone's speaking, then we just we give way to that and listen in. Otherwise, it sort of takes over the sound. So because there's so many of us on here, I would just take this opportunity to mention that we maybe just have boxed wine coming out with Ben's Picnic Rosé, maybe Stefano de Blasi's Trevenice, maybe the world famous Christian Patata Passiamento. So we might just be possibly releasing some incredibly efficient wines. Mel, perfect for your scenario. What wine should I take for my sarnie filled with sand? And so these wines, you can take them to the beach, and then you can take them back into the car because it'll be raining on the beach, and you can have a little glass there, but drink responsibly. Okay, we move on.
And if you're in South Africa, you can sell them out of your car if it's locked down.
Oh yeah, it's true. There is an alcohol ban on that. So, well, we could. So Francis,
we're not going to go there.
We're out for that. So Francis asks, I have only slow cooked lamb shoulder. What's the best cut for a barbecue, and any particular marinade you would recommend? I'm going to throw it back to Johan. Are you cool with this one? So what's the best cut for a barbecue and a marinade? And I'm going to actually, sorry, Johan, I retract. I'm going to go to Edgard on this one, just on the marinade session, because I believe, Johan, you're more on the purist, turn the salt on the meat.
Good.
And Edgard, you're sort of a bit more involved in the sort of prep. So is there a cut that you would recommend for a barbecue? The cut of the piece of the meat and a relative
Cut. Yeah. A special cut that I would prefer more than others in
barbecue and a marinade.
Look, normally, traditionally, beef, for example, we don't use marinade. It's just salt and thyme, and manage the intensity. Probably the main ingredient for the flavor, external flavor for the meat, would be the fire itself, the quality of the wood that you use. Then there's a huge array of possibilities with pork. In Chile, we have a big culture of eating pork, and there we do some special marinade with chile. We say ají. We don't say Chile. Mexicans say Chile, but we don't call our country an ingredient, so we say ají. Ají with oregano, with vinegar, salt, black pepper. You do a sort of soup out of it, and with a brush, you can wet the pork. The big pork would be
The ribs.
the whole side of the ribs. In Chile, they sell them like not the rib itself, they sell the whole piece that it's around 2.5 kilos. And it's very normal to put it there 3 hours and keep on marinating. And it has a little bit of cumin also. The main triangle of flavor for the pork in the marinade, it's 3 spices that they explain the main backbone of the flavor of Chilean cuisine, which is black pepper, which is Spain influence, cumin, also southern Spain, also with an Arab influence, and oregano. So the 3 things together plus the salt, it's like the basic marination for Chilean cuisine that gives the Chilean flavor. And you use a lot of that in pork when you do it in the barbecue.
That's great. That's a really great response. Thank you, Edgar. We might not get to all of these questions, but a very quick one. I'm going to ask all the panelists to think about this question from Simon, who says, for all the panelists, who would you most like to eat with you? So it's like your dinner party guest, you know, who's the ideal dream dinner party. So let that digest in your head and we'll come back and answer it. Karen, one of our archangels, is asking, have the winemakers missed the tours as much as we archangels have? Karen, I think I'll just in the interest of moving through, I'll answer. We had our winemaker company update yesterday at 4 o'clock, this morning at 8 a.m. So 2 different time zones for people around the world, people to jump on. And we were telling them how the year was, what we're doing, just keeping them on. And then, you know, the buzz, the fun, the crack on that. It was a company update, not entirely serious, but it was very serious. But, you know, it was just lighthearted and sharing. But it was the love and the sort of people saying, hey, it's great to see everybody. And there was a lot of crack and banter. So I'll answer on behalf of everyone else while they're thinking of the previous question. And then Vince has asked Kat, what wine is best with cooking fish? And is there any best to cook in the wine or just to drink with it? Is there any best wine to cook in the wine, or is it best just to drink with it? And then we'll go around, ask everyone what their favorite dream dinner party guest is, and we'll wrap it up. Okay, Kat, to you.
So the question is, what is the best wine to drink with fish? I would say, I like rosé, it's so flexible, but I also love, I do like Ben and Rod's Sauvignon Blanc with fish, and the picnic. I do like the acidity of a white to go with fish. That said, a lighter style red. I do like chilling a red a little bit, like even a light sort of Grenache Syrah chilled, and you can.
Yeah. You have a chilled red with a nice white fish, yeah?
I'm quite happy to have a red chilled. I mean, I love red chilled. So I'd always serve that with fish, but probably my priority would be a white wine.
Cool.
Like a dicky, acidic white wine. And what was the second question? What?
And it was, would you add a white wine? Which white wine would you add to cooking fish? Or is it best
Well, I've basically got a collection of every single white we drink that we rarely finish. I mean, we rarely don't finish a bottle, that's what I should say. But I do have a stock in the back kitchen, in the pantry, of all the bottles that for some reason we haven't finished. And so I basically use everything. I use everything for cooking. I also use an old muscat. I do love an old muscat. If I'm deglazing in the fry pan for pork or something like that, instead of white wine, I might use an old muscat to have that sugar kick. And I wanted to say to Edgar,
that's a good muscat.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say I've got cumin. When he mentioned cumin, I've got cumin in the squid. So the marinade for my squid was lemon zest, garlic, salt, and cumin with coriander on top. I'm addicted to cumin at the moment, so I was really excited to hear him say that.
And we've been loving here, because for the Angel, I think I feel very privileged and excited to see the other winemakers that we haven't seen for now over 2 years. And it's great to see, and we want to go and see them, to eat with them, And I think that's how everyone feels. I'm sure that's how you feel.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And so, yeah, I mean, we need to catch up. It's all about that. Like, so it was really good. It was great to
So this
see.
is the next best.
I mean, I can't imagine how real and good it is to do that. It is very cool.
who would have thought? No, what? So we will.
It's also for us, for us, like we appreciate it as much than everyone else to be because we don't catch up with those guys for a very long time, and that's great to be able to do that because we've been doing that for 10 years, twice a year, where we've been catching up with winemakers in between
around the UK.
We haven't done that for 2 years, and we're missing that. So hopefully that will start again, and we'll get to catch up again.
And I think, Ben, it's important. So we'll go around. I'm going to go to Johan first to ask the question about who is your dream dinner party guest? Who would you love to have join you? But before we lose the thought of it, we should keep this conversation going. Ben, Kat, Edgar, everyone on the groups, the food and wine group, and various groups on the wall, just to keep chatting about and sharing, menu or recipe suggestions and so on. It's brilliant because now is a perfect season. So, Johan, have you had a chance to think what would be your dream dinner party guest, or who, not what?
Ray, the most amazing thing about tour, connecting to the previous comment, is exchanging experiences and just the community of Naked on the tour bus. So who would be our perfect guest? I would guess all the angels, all the Naked staff, all the winemakers that we work with around one big round table. And for one moment, if we could just all look each other in the eye and say, we made it and we will make it. So, it's a little bit emotional if you ask me that question, but it's a huge honor to be a Naked winemaker. It's amazing to be compared with these winemakers that I'm sharing airtime with today. Ray, with where we started, me, you and Sophie, and where you are today, where we all are, and just to reminisce about how far we all have come, including each angel, each winemaker, each Naked staff. That would be a dream dinner. And I salute each and everybody connecting in tonight. Thank God for all the kids who are sleeping, still sleeping. They probably, as soon as we put our heads to the pillow, they're gonna wake up. Papa, I need a pot or a toilet or a milk or whatever. But it feels like we've been on one amazing date tonight. And I salute each and everybody tonight.
Cheers.
I hope I'm not off the topic, but thanks, guys. It's been awesome.
You summarize the importance of your community and eating together. I'm going to jump very quickly to the guys, our Chilean contributors. So who's your favorite, or who would be your dream dinner party guest, Edgar, Kareem? And I'm looking for like David Bowie or Nelson Mandela now. You summed it up. You summed up what we're all thinking. But in the interest of time, we'll go for like Desmond Tutu or something like that.
I realized that I've never done that question to myself. I did it to myself, thinking with whom I would party with, but not who would I have dinner with. So I had enough time to think. And it's Violeta Parra. Violeta Parra, she's a folklorist. She passed away. She's Chilean, and I think she's someone that I would love to share the table because she knows this country really well. She She
Music.
recovered traditional music from Chile. She went to every single little valley, capturing all the culture. And it would be great because food is culture, and to share it with her would be the best person. Violeta Parra.
That's great. That's
And
lovely. Thank you, Edgar. Kat, the floor is yours to sum us up. Kat.
no, just
I was
Sorry.
actually the first person that came into my head, I've got to say, was my dad, because my dad is the biggest pisshead, I was going to say, but no, he loves to drink and he's beautiful company at the table. But you started saying about famous people. So I thought, actually, I would really dream to have Robert Plant or Nick Cave at the table, because for me, this confinement means there's been no music, no concerts, and we were really sad because we'd bought tickets for Barcelona to take our daughter to go and see Nick Cave. That got cancelled twice in the past 18 months. So Dana, have him at the table, and I could maybe cheekily say, do you mind if you take a guitar and sing something as well? So that would be, I'd have some musicians at the table, I think.
You're allowed to have Nick Cave and your dad at the table, and Lila.
That would be a really good match.
And you can join us, Ray.
And Ray, you can come for the music too.
Well, it has been a fantastic evening. I don't know why we don't do this more often. In fact, we probably will. And a fantastic effort, and just the just what you've all contributed. It's wonderful to see the different time zones as well, and the different seasons. So anyway, thank you, winemakers and wives and partners, and everyone who's tuned in. It's been a very, very special one this evening. And enjoy the summer, enjoy the winter. Does that work? And until the next time, take care, everybody. It's been wonderful.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you,
Want to say
Ray.
bye, Ben. Bye,
Thank
Johan.
you. Thank you, Ray.
Hey.